All right, everyone. Trump derangement syndrome runs deep. It runs its course sometimes, and other times it becomes a chronic condition. And it comes in various severities. This is a more severe case, I'm sad to say. Link in the description, archived, of course. This comes from salon.com, which shouldn't surprise anybody. Apparently, it is problematic that Donald Trump likes fast food. It's basically a compilation of all the times that fast food has been a part of what he's doing. For instance, the time that the basketball team there, they won the championship, got invited to the White House, and he comes out with big files of McDonald's and shit like that. And the legacy media pretended that he was doing something terribly wrong, that he was basically insulting the basketball team. Oh yeah, instead of giving you filet mignon and lobster and shit like that, I'm giving you Big Macs. I don't think that they cared. They got invited to the White House. I think that that's enough. It's not like McDonald's is terrible. Once in a while. I'm not a huge fast food fan, although I eat it sometimes for convenience sake. But and then they were talking about the famous time that he was making French fries and shit like that and serving people their orders. And they pretended to be outraged at that as well. And it's like, okay, you got to understand something. Donald Trump is actually a fan of these franchises and eats junk food all of the time. By all reckoning, most of his diet is fucking Big Macs and Diet Cokes and shit like that. Wonder if he drinks Diet Coke or Coke Zero. The Zero is better. Honestly, the Zero ones that they're making now for various brands are actually palatable. I was never a fan of diet sodas, generally speaking. I don't know what the difference is between them, but the flavor is definitely different. I mean, he's eating burgers anyway. He was in his element when he was in the McDonald's there. He looked like a kid in a candy shop, probably for a reason. Because once the cameras stopped rolling, who do you think came to lunch? It was probably Donald Trump then too. And he probably had a burger beforehand as well. He loves this stuff. How is this particularly outrageous? Presidents have always had their weird proclivities and stuff like that. One of Donald Trump's is that he just really, really likes junk food. I don't see this as an outrage. I mean, we had a president who was so fat he got stuck in the tub one time, if I remember correctly. That was Taft, if I remember correctly. We've had presidents that were brawling with people on the White House lawn, Theodore Roosevelt among them. We've had presidents who had a stroke and then obviously their wife was signing off on the documents for them, sort of like a primitive auto pen, I suppose. That would be a bigger scandal. That's Wilson. We had a president who at one point was, I think this was before he was in the presidency, but he was driving his wife around while she was in the back seat making out with other dudes. That would be Nixon. We had a president who whipped out his cock in front of both domestic and foreign dignitaries and ambassadors and shit and staffers, and apparently called his dick Jumbo. At least somebody said that in chat the other day. I'm fond of the LBJ story. He would whip his cock out and say, "This is why I'm in charge. Aha, look at the size of this monster." And nobody would dare to say anything about it, of course, because he's the president of the United States. Just like none of those kids ever shrieked, "Hey, he's groping me," or something like that when Joe Biden was sniffing their hair and doing other things, unfortunately, including to his own daughter. So we've had presidents run the gamut. You've got the George W. incident there where he was clearly drinking. He was quite clearly intoxicated. They claimed it was a non-alcoholic beer. You remember that incident? That was a funny clip way back in the day. Obama had his own weird proclivities too. I mean, they all do. These are human beings. They all have their own little quirks. Donald Trump liking hamburgers does not seem particularly outrageous to me, and it's certainly not newsworthy. I'm only covering this story because the story should not exist and is just more evidence of TDS in the legacy media. Otherwise, I'm completely uninterested in it. There's all sorts of weird shit that's happened in presidential history. George Washington used to ham it up with the ladies, and Jefferson used to get wasted and, had his way with multiple slaves. and so on and so on forth. About the most dour one, I guess, was Adams, actually. At least of the early presidents. He seemed to be a bit of a sourpuss, with the whole Alien and Sedition Act. He seemed a bit more authoritarian. Don't even get me started on Andrew Jackson. Hey, I got a 2,000 pound wheel of cheese rotting in one of the White House rooms, and my wife is complaining. Shit. And I bet he went to the bar and started throwing chairs around while wasted before he finally decided to calm down and cut the cheese up for the poor. And I figured that out in a drunken moment of stupor. I mean, he was fighting alongside a group of pirates and shit like that, one of which I've actually been compared to several times when I was in New Orleans. I found that very, very funny. Jean Lafitte. Uh, Trump likes fast food. He stuffs his face with French fries. Well, considering the amount of fast food that he supposedly eats, honestly, he actually looks pretty good. For a dude of his age that has that sort of diet, I guess the teetotaling helps. Apparently, there is literally a little red button on the White House desk, by the way, that summons a Diet Coke. This is apparently true. This is mentioned in the article, by the way, and they're like, oh my God, he's so obsessed with these things. Look, I don't care if he drinks a Diet Coke. It's perfectly fine. The hell does it matter to me? Has nothing to do with public policy now, does it? All of this is his personality. And that personality is helping him in diplomacy and shit like that. So I don't really care if Donald Trump likes fast food. That's about all. Peace out.